Cola with growingyourgreens.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. We're here at the Cinder Light blocks, some blocks, and bricks. And while we're here today is actually I'm going to build a new raised bed and finding the best material to build my raised bed out of, and that is the concrete blocks. Much like the, the Three Little Pigs fairy tale, where the, one pig built his house out of straw, which you can build a raised bed out of, just get straw bales. Another pig built his house out of wood, which the big bad wolf blew down. And one pig built his house out of bricks, or concrete blocks, that the wolf could not get into, and the other little piggies were safe. So today I'm actually here to research and find some blocks that I'm gonna build my raised bed out of. This is the best option for me to build my raised bed because it's not wood that may degrade in the weather, or some kind of plastic wood, or some other material. It's something that's been here for a long time. So let's head to the yard and check out what we got. All right, so as you guys can see, we're in the yard. Actually, I'm just looking at all these blocks just stacked up all over the place. Totally insane. I'm gonna find the best block that's gonna work for me so I can make a raised bed out of bricks instead of wood. All right, these are the blocks that I've been looking for. Check it out. So these guys are just solid blocks, and they're nice and heavy duty here. And basically what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take these guys, and line them up. Oh, and check it out, man. These ones are cool. They even have a decorative on the edges. So actually that's kind of cool. Instead of just the, the plain flat look here, like on this guy. They got all kinds of different options, This is just flat if you want that flat look, on both sides. This one actually has a design in it, so it's just like a straight line, kind of indentation. That's kind of cool. They got different patterns. So I definitely kind of like this pattern, man. It like kind of breaks it up, makes it look a little bit more interesting. And of course they got different colors here. So they got like this color here. Oh man, and check this out. This is cool. I like this one the most, actually. That's like a sanded look, man. That looks pretty cool. That looks almost kind of decorative there on that one. Wow, so many different kinds. I would have not known this if I didn't come out here to walk, because the guy in the shop said, oh yeah, we got this, this, and this. But yeah, man, definitely like this kind. It looks kind of like marble or something. It looks kind of fancy. Then of course, you just could get the standard ones, just the gray, ones, or the tan ones, the tan flat ones. And here's another kind right here, actually. They got all kinds of different ones here. Oh man, look at this. These ones are cool. They're taller. Man, that's ultimate, dude. Just one block. Here's another one right here. It just has cutouts on both sides. I don't like that one so much for a raised bed. But I think this guy right here, man, I like it because it's just so tall. I mean, this is like a large block right here. So I will not have to double stack the blocks. Here's, of course, just the standard red ones. And then we get into these guys that are like hollow on the top. So those ones won't necessarily work for me. So another inexpensive option are like these guys, but the problem with these guys is they're just too dang thin. And although they're pretty good size, you just stack them up, this is prone to like falling over unless you like maybe glue something together to reinforce them. So I'm just definitely not gonna go with these cheap thin guys here. So I finally decided on the blocks I got. We got home here and got the Jeep loaded up with the blocks. Now, each one of these blocks weigh like 31 pounds, so it's very important and critical that you do not overload your car. I loaded my car until the wheel wells and the tires were, kind of low and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's probably enough. And I fit 75 blocks in here, so that's a fair bit of weight. Drove home slow on the way home and over no major bumps, potholes, or anything like that. And we made 2 trips. So got 150 total blocks here. And I did show you guys some of the different block options earlier in the video. And the block that I liked the best was the biggest one that had that little line, the V groove in it. And actually, they don't sell those. Those are in waiting to be processed because they put that in a machine, and then it basically comes down with a little chisel, and then it basically splits it. So they actually couldn't sell me those blocks, and if they did, they'd have to sell me the cut price times 2, which I found out is actually quite expensive. So the block I liked the most, which had that kind of cool finish on it, looked like granite, I said, that was like $4, like one block. man, I'd go broke if I bought that many blocks, right? The other block I liked that actually had the chiseled face with like a different kind of shape on it, that was like $1 more than this, and that was like $2.80 a block. And so then I got into the low range blocks. The cheapest blocks were $1.69, and they were just these blocks that were just in the gray color. So, you know, because this is something I'm gonna have to live with and look at every day, and well, you guys will be seeing it in videos a lot now, I decided to go with a different color. So they have 4 different color options, including a red, a brown, a tan, and some other color. But I decided to go with these guys. These are like the lightest color, and they look kind of nice. So I wanted to get a light color because I didn't want it, you know, to be too dark and absorb too much sun, especially in the summertime when that may tend to dry out, you know, near the edges and the beds. Also, these will act actually as heat sinks in the wintertime. So they'll actually, you know, the sun will be out, these will get warmer and actually help warm up the soil. Now, as I alluded to earlier in this video, you know, there's many different options you have when building a raised bed. In this particular situation, I'm choosing to go with the bricks. We could have went with like a plastic lumber, which I'm not a super fan of plastic. You know, it's a man-made material made out of petroleum products and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, I have used plastic in the other half of my garden here when that was an affordable option for me, but I decided to step it up a notch. Of course, I could have went with the wood and then treated the wood with the non-toxic, you know, stain, and I do have videos if you do and are going to use wood on the products I recommend to stain your wood so they will last longer. But I didn't want to have to deal with the warping, the cracking, and it just breaking down over time. And so the concrete blocks are my choice. They're heavy duty, they're solid. In addition, because this is a nice 4-inch width, it's not going to easily tip over, and this makes actually a nice place to sit my ass when I want to sit down and work on my raised bed. Another reason why I went with the concrete blocks is because these guys are movable. You know, if I want to reconfigure my backyard, if I want to use these for something else, if I want to sell them later down the road, you know, I'm not going to mortar these guys in. I'm just going to set them down next to each other, butt them up against each other. They're not going to move. They're so heavy, and you know, so I could have my raised beds now, and later on, if I move or whatever, I could bring these with me if I want to. I could leave them. I could take them away and sell them. I mean, so many different things you could do. I mean, they're also easy to transport. I mean, just 31 pounds, getting a nice workout, lifting, you know, 150 of these guys out of my Jeep. All right, so now you can see we're here in the backyard, and in the background, way back there, you can see the other half of the backyard actually, which I planted in round circular raised beds. And at the time that I designed that and put that in, I started with like 4 raised beds. And the first thing I did was cleared and had a plan. And actually, you could check back my past episodes. I have a really good 1-hour long episode showing me the process of taking literally a weekend to put in 4 raised beds. Since that video, I've expanded, and now I have a total of 20 4-foot circular raised beds on the other side of the yard. So I never developed this side of the yard. I developed that side of the yard first because it's the more sunny side. It gets more sun. Actually, right now it's actually probably a quarter in the sun, and this side has barely any sun at all. So the first thing is, before you start taking blocks and just putting them where you think you should, is make a plan. Number 1, determine where you get the most amount of sun. The most amount of sun is going to equal the most amount of growth. But don't be sad. John, I don't get no sun in my backyard, man. It's you know, on the wrong side of the house. Don't fret, you know, the side that I'm developing now doesn't get as much sun. But this can be a benefit, actually, because guess what? Some plants don't like full sun. You know, some plants don't like to get overheated and whatnot. So I'm going to use some of the shade to my advantage and grow some crops that don't necessarily need as much sun. So plants that need more sun in general are fruiting crops. Things like tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, eggplants. You know, things that produce a fruit that you would eat. Things that produce leaves, such as leafy green vegetables, you know, kale, collards, bok choy, lettuce, you know, spinach, and herbs. Guess what? They don't need as much sun, so you could put those in a shady spot. So on this side, where I'm more in the shade, I'm going to be growing some, leafy greens and herbs in the shady spots, and some of this area actually gets a bit more sun, so I'll be growing some fruiting crops there. So yeah, number 1, make a plan. And so what I'm going to do next is, find the sunniest spots, put my bed there if I was only going to have one, but I'm going to develop this whole half. I mean, it's much more space efficient to have square boxes than round ones. The round ones were inexpensive, but if I had to do it all over, I would have just went with the blocks, knowing that this is going to be a permanent installation and much smarter. At some point, I'm going to probably tear out the round ones and put the square ones, the blocks, like I am on this side, you know, after I determine this works and in between my planting seasons. So yep, I'm going to get a piece of paper out, take the tape measure, and basically sketch out the measurements here, and then figure out how big my raised beds are going to be, you know, how much the spacing in between the beds, where the walkways are going to be. Then we're just going to come back, lay the blocks down, you know, put the irrigation system in, fill them up, and plant them out. And so this will be a collection of videos. You know, this one just has to do with setting the blocks up and making the raised beds. So if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, be sure to check my past videos and subscribe to my YouTube channel for the rest of this series on how to build a block garden. All right, pretty much my last measurement, 9 foot 6 inches. We're gonna go ahead and put this on the little map here that I'm making, layout. You will also want to note any kind of existing irrigation system. So here's like where a sprinkler pops up. This will definitely be useful, because what I'll be doing is actually I'll be tying in the existing lawn irrigation system, when there was a lawn here, into my raised bed so that they can get automatically watered. Next, I'm going to go ahead and go inside, log this in the computer, and start playing house. Alright, so I've been moving the bricks to the back here and got the plan all set up. So at this point, you'll want to do two things. Number one, you're probably going to want to put in your irrigation if you own your home. If you rent, then you may want to put irrigation on top of the soil so that you can take it off and take it with you. I'm actually putting the irrigation underneath the soil. This is going to be a good long time installation here. And so we dug all the trenches and we got all the blocks placed. So you can see here, these are the blocks. We got a bed right against the wall here, just about 1 foot long, so I could actually trellis and grow things up. But in addition, we have mostly freestanding beds. And this is what they look like, you know, once I got the blocks in place. So this is how we got all the blocks, you know. Now, if you're a non-perfectionist, which I ain't, you could probably just set up the blocks any old way and fill it up with some dirt and be good and done with it. And you got a raised bed. You know, unfortunately, my mom raised me as a perfectionist, so things gotta look right, they gotta look perfect. I want everything all level and all this stuff. So I'm going to explain how to do that if you guys want to do that. I mean, it's really easy, just going to take some time. What you're going to do here is we got some sand. And this was bought in bulk, so I just bagged it up into individual bags so it's easy to work with and carry. And all you literally have to do is you're just going to have to go ahead and you know, pull a string, and you're going to have of course, a good level here. And you know, you're going to check the slope, and wow, my property is sloped down, so we have to bring up that side significantly. So then all you do is you're going to just, you know, move the block away. Lay your sand down. Put the block back on, maybe tap it down, and you know, make sure you're level, and then continue to do the next one. Now, because I'm severely OCD, you know, just doing this project on all the blocks would probably take me like a week to finish it. I don't have the time to do that. I gotta put out new videos for you guys and all this kind of stuff and live my normal life as well. So instead of doing this all myself, which you guys could do, I decided to bring in the experts. So I got a 40-year bricklayer who does this professionally, and he takes side jobs actually to level all this out and put this in for me. This is truly old world craftsmanship. All right, so now I want to show you guys what my raised beds are looking like after it's been professionally laid out, leveled, and everything. I'm definitely really happy with them. So here are my raised beds. We got 3 raised beds that are quite long. They're like 4 feet by like 16 feet, and they're coming out quite good. We got the irrigation system in. I'm piling the bottom with some inexpensive, cheap compost that I would not recommend if you live in Vegas. It's A1 Organics. I made a video there. Actually, they requested that I remove it from public view, so it's no longer available. And I mean, the stuff stinks, and I'm not a big fan, especially, I mean, the bigger problem with me is, like, they just don't want to be transparent and show people the products that they're offering. They're going to try to, like, you know, limit the information about it. So when companies are shady, I really just can't recommend them. Plus, the compost stinks. So, you know, I got to fill up these beds, which are quite tall, so I'm actually layering it on the bottom level that probably the roots for most plants that I'm planting will not even get down there. So it's just going to sit down there, compost further with the earthworms and all this kind of stuff, and hopefully break down more, because I'm going to put good stuff on top. And be sure to stay tuned for a future episode on my soil recommendations if you do live in Vegas. As you guys can see, they're hard at work here. Alberto and his team getting this done for me. And one of the things I want to say to you guys is that, you know, I have some trust issues, like in relationships, maybe that's why I'm still single, but also just with hiring people, you know, to come in to do work, because you never know the kind of job that you're going to get, you know, with contractors and whatnot. I've just heard these horror stories, people getting ripped off, and I'm glad that I found Alberto through a friend, through a referral, and so I had a solid referral, and I'm using him, and he's working great for me. So actually, if you're looking for somebody to install your block raised bed garden or any kind of stucco work, or even if you need somebody also doing the irrigation, bringing in the soil. I mean, if you have an empty backyard and you're not handy, you could hire him at actually a quite affordable price, and he's going to do great work for you so that you could start growing. Let's go ahead and show you guys a level on this. Check it out here. This is pretty doggone level. It's like right in the middle. Now, I can't guarantee that every bed is exactly level like this, but you know what? I mean, if I'm looking at it and it looks level to me, it's close enough for government work and close enough for me. So I'm glad I'll be able to, you know, walk outside my back patio and look at my raised beds all completely level, filled up, and soon enough growing with a lot of things that I could be eating. All right, so now I'm so excited to show you guys my raised bed blocked garden. This is totally exciting. As you enter the backyard here, you can see off to one side, I got a 16-inch wide bed all the way down, and it's 2 blocks high. This will allow me to grow things vertically up the wall, and I'll have to figure out some kind of trellising system. That's really cool. And here's all the raised beds we got built. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 raised beds, including the wall. That's a total of 6. And this is how it looks. 2 blocks high. They've painstakingly leveled it out using sand and digging it out in areas and raising it up in some areas. So all these beds are the same exact height. You know, this costs a little bit more, but it was worth it to me because I'm gonna have to look at this every day, and this is gonna be here to stay. I mean, these are concrete blocks. It's not like wood that may rot out and all this kind of stuff. These are permanent, so I want to get a good permanent installation that was done professionally, because I mean, yeah, I could have done it, but it probably wouldn't be this nice, and it probably would have took me a lot of time. So we got the irrigation system set up, and this will be actually shown to you guys in another episode how we did the irrigation and the new AquaJet irrigation system that I'm using. In addition, I'm doing a raised bed kind of hugelkultur kind of thing. In hugelkultur, they basically bury the wood down in the bed, and that releases some of the moisture. I don't have a ton of wood, but we had to cut some trees to have access. So I'm just basically burying the wood down at the bottom of the bed, and then covering up with compost, and then more compost and my planting mixture. This will basically rot out or compost over time and degrade. Worms will come, feast on that stuff. More importantly for me, the fungal hyphae are going to be attracted to the wood and hopefully make their network down below. This is the bed that I did this the most in. The other beds don't really have any, so it's going to be interesting to see if this bed grows better than the others. Plus also, this is a cheap filler because good soil here in the valley is actually quite hard to find. So that's the bed here. This next bed, I got it filled almost halfway up, and what we're looking at in here is I put that inexpensive A1 Organics compost on the bottom and encapsulated it, because if it was not encapsulated, it'd be stinking right now, man. So then I put some compost for you longtime viewers that I got from a friend when she was moving out, and we would layer that on, and I'm still gonna have a good like 8 inches thick of the top layer that I'm putting on, which is gonna be the good growing mix. And stay tuned for a future episode on the mixture I'm going to be using. It's basically from Viragrow in North Las Vegas. I guess going down, these are all the beds. They're all level out. And this is going to be a fun one here because all the raised beds have basically the racetrack aquajet. This is going to allow for maximum oxygenation of the root zone and definitely full coverage. And I wanted to try this to see how it's going to work. This way I'm 100% confident that this will definitely hit all the, you know, root zone and get the whole bed wet and keep everything watered. For fun and giggles, we put in a single system. So this is how the aquajet was originally designed, just for a single jet going both directions. So I'm doing one as a trial to see what's the difference in growth between doing a single or doing a double, because this one right back behind it, I don't have the aquajet in yet, but we're doing a double, and this is the same bed in the same basic amount of sun. So that's definitely going to be real cool. And then of course, if the single doesn't perform well, I've got it piped in so I can go to that double immediately, because I just think that the dual aquajet is going to work a lot better. Now, let me give you a quick heads up. The aquajet is basically a subsoil irrigation system that's going to save 20% more water than my standard drip irrigation that I'm using on the other side. Plus, it's going to be really cool to see, you know, how much better the plants grow on this side versus the other side where I have the drip irrigation. I have had some challenges with drip irrigation in the past, and with the aquajet and these new raised beds, I think I'm gonna rock it. All right, so now we have a special treat for you, and I need to give a special thanks to Alberto and his crew that hooked me up and did all this raised bed stuff, because I would not have been able to do it in a day like they did. So I'm quite grateful. So let's meet him. So that brings us to the end of this episode. As you guys can see, this whole job got done in one day. It would have probably took me like a whole week of doing it here and there and then being all anal. Alberto did an amazing job, and he's available here in the Las Vegas area if you have a project to put in a raised bed garden in the backyard, any kind of concrete stucco work, and even irrigation, bringing in the dirt. I mean, he'll set you up. I know he set me up, and I want to thank him. Alberto, okay, thank you so much. Okay. And that'll do it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, my name is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. We'll see you next time. And remember, keep on growing.